Another edition, the Ministry of Information podcast. Make sure you subscribe on Patreon, YouTube. Follow us on IG. We here with the one and only, the hard hitter, the champ from Fillmore, Karim Mayfield. What's up, bro?
What's happening, man? Happy to be in this thing, messing with my peoples.
Come on, man. I had to bring you here. We've been messing with each other for a while. We did a lot of work together. I had to bring the champ to be on the Ministry of Information podcast. One reason, I heard so much about your career before we even met. So can you tell the people a little bit about how you became a fighter? Because I know you got a crew full of brothers. You got a big family, but you also got a crew full of brothers.
Right, yeah. So, how I started off being a fighter, as soon as I was whipped as a child by the doctor, on the butt, it turned me into a monster. No, but
First second in,
man. But no, going back to my past, man. I actually started off fighting with my, family members and my brothers and siblings, and we weren't fighting with animosity. It was just something to do, and we liked getting it in. It was so many of us that we would always be intertwined in a wrestling match or a sparring match. But as far as as fighting as a career, I had started boxing actually. It was quite late, and they opened up a boxing gym right in my neighborhood, and it wasn't a gym, so to speak. It was actually at the bottom of a continuation school called I-B Wells, if y'all know about I-B. But which was right up the block from my hood, and at that time, I wasn't doing nothing. I was fresh out of high school, and just kind of chilling, wasting my time, to be honest. And when somebody say chilling, kind of wasting your time. When they say what you doing chilling, I was wasting my time. So nevertheless, that just.
So wait, I gotta stop you. So what you're saying is that before you graduated high school, you was not training to be a boxer?
Nah, exactly. I wasn't training at all to be a boxer.
But you had a history of defending and fighting people in the schools.
Fighting. And right, yeah. So as I mentioned, I would just, a lot of those wrestling matches and boxing matches with my cousins. I was always had the, mindset of, I always looked after people that was like picked on or whatever. So, they would call me like the bully blaster. Like, I would fight guys that was like, a foot taller than me, and I would protect guys. I'd be protecting guys bigger than me that should be my security. So, I've always had the mindset, or I've always had the heart to always look out for, the people that was less in position to protect themselves.
So what's the story? Like, what turned you on to being a boxer, and what made you even think of it as a profession?
Right. Well, so I had, originally, as I mentioned, I fighting with my cousins or whatever, but I never looked at it at all as being a profession. I didn't even thought about boxing until I found out about that boxing gym, and I did well. I would watch. I've always liked the Muhammad Ali's because of his charisma, skills, and the Mike Tyson's because of his punching power and ferocity. And, Floyd Mayweather because of his defense, but I just never thought about, I'm going to go be a fighter or go be a boxer. I know I was a fighter in the streets, but I didn't think about playing boxing. But, I ended up, with a friend of mine, one of my best friends actually, was murdered. And when I was a little bit out of high school, and, after when I first went to that gym, and from literally that time period within a few months, it gave me a place to channel my energy, So I went up there often. I went up there quite often, and I would.
Was it one fight in particular, or one particular second when you was like, what, this is for me?
Yeah. So
what moment was that?
What moment was that? Okay. Well, it actually took some time, even though I was I was going up there with somewhere for me to go. The homie had been murdered, and when people was kind of less chilling on the block, it wasn't as lit as it used to be, so I had somewhere to go. But a particular moment was, to pursue it, a little bit and have it as a hobby. That particular moment was the first time I stepped in the ring. And, I had went up there, a friend named Amar, had told me it was a boxing gym right up the street and go check it out. I'm like, eh. And I eventually went up there. And when I went up there, I asked, the coach, Johnny Mason, rest in peace, Johnny Mason, OG, like 80 years old. He was, he told me, he wanted to put me on a jab, and which was the fundamentals, and start me with my feet work. And I was like, nah, man, I'm good. Let me fight somebody. I didn't know the terminology of sparring, use that verbiage. But I would use, I'd be like, let me fight him. And he's like, we ain't got nobody your size, bro. We ain't got nobody your size. I'm like, man, we can go with him. What you mean size? In the streets ain't no size. You talk that shit. You already know. Jay. They talking. Come on, man. They gotta walk it, right? So, I'm like, I can go with him. Man, ain't too big for him. Like I didn't know about weight sizes because I didn't know just about this professional boxing. Of course, we like the Muhammad Ali's and all them, but I didn't trip off weight classes or whatever. But anyways, he threw me in there with the Samoan cat. And that was, we already know that our Samoan boys be quite big, man. And, he was a Us was big. And I went in there and like out the gate, put him down. I put him down. So we only went one round. Within that one round, I put him down twice. And like the OG was just like, hey youngster, you come back here. I won't change nothing about you, man. I can make you good. I ain't gonna change nothing about you. And that was like a moment. I'm like, what do you mean he ain't gonna change nothing about me? I know I can't be. I don't look like, as technical as the fighters I've seen on television. And I don't know, I know I had a condition, but what did he mean? And I mean, later on I see that, he meant my ferocity and my, my hunger and my grit, that I had that other fighters did, and also my me being unorthodox.
Well, talk a little bit about just your ferocity and your unorthodox style. I mean, what be in your mind when you step into the ring, when you first off, when you train and you getting in push-ups in and you getting that sparring in, what's in your mind?
Well, when I step in the ring, it ain't no disses or mean mugs, but when the bell rings, it's fists and mean slugs. No,
you're a beast.
No. I mean, to be honest, it's leading up to a fight though. Your mindset is kind of, to be honest, kind of weird. You're thinking about, hurting somebody for this long period of time. Everything you do, this person is on your mind. And regardless, sometimes you may not know who your opponent is, but you're just thinking of. And my mindset was always like I'm fighting the best fighter in the world. I'm fighting Floyd. You know what I mean? So my mindset was always, but speaking of the ferocity and me being, the grit, I feel like it was, just seeing so much that, I come off very, just relaxed, cool, chill, but in the ring it's a whole different story. But I think, as I mentioned, challenging that energy that I had as a youngster, and also seeing, so many murders, man, so many of my peers murdered, and generations after generations actually being murdered, and I feel me challenging that energy, that was a place to release it. During the workout, me working out, grinding for it, that was a place to release it.